creating the curriculum. Now, this is the meat of any course creation process, and it can literally make or break your online course. Now, most people normally don't spend enough time here, and they worry more about the production quality, the voiceover quality, the title of the course, but everything else put together compared to this is the most important part, and it demands the most amount of time spent on it. Now let's see what goes behind creating a curriculum and how it has become so much more structured and easy in the age of AI. A well-structured curriculum creates the foundation for successful learning outcomes. In this module, we'll break down the process into 4 steps. These are: number 1, creating the course structure. It sets the learning framework and overall organization of your material. Number 2, course outline. Now here we define specific modules, lessons, and go a little bit deep into learning objectives. Number 3, course experiences. Now these are very important. It changes a dull, monotonic, boring course delivery into a rich, interactive experience. Now what does course experiences means? They are interactive activities within the course like worksheets, assessments, reading materials, supporting videos that makes your course a bit more engaging. And number 4 is the course content itself. Now, here's where your own expertise comes in, or your support of a Gen AI tool comes in, and you actually deliver the meat of the content. Now let's get started with step number 1, the course structure. Consider the course structure as a high-level framework. What does it contain? A course structure typically contains 4 to 5 modules. Modules are broad sections that group related topics together, creating logical content clusters. These form the primary organizational units of your course and help students see the big picture and what they learn. And number 2, for each module, you define a very high-level learning objective. Clear statements of what learners will be able to do after completing each module. These set expectations and provide measurable outcomes for assessment. But I just don't want you to stay in theory only. Let's actually practically see how it's done. And for the sake of practical demonstration, let us pick a topic. And our topic is healthy cooking for beginners. Let's head over to our favorite AI assistant, the ChatGPT. So what I'll do here is I will give it a prompt to create a course structure for my course, which is healthy cooking for beginners, how to make healthy foods every day. Before I get started, I'll give you a quick summary of how I will be coming up with my prompts. If you don't already know, I'll be using a 4-level deep approach. I'll be thinking on 4 levels. The number 1 is the obvious. The number 2 is the detailing. Number 3 is the context. And number 4 is the outcome. Now I'll not go into further details because that's a part of another course which examines prompting in a much larger depth. But here I just want you to observe how my prompts are made. So let's start. Create a high-level course outline for beginner-friendly course title, Healthy Cooking for Beginners, How to Make Healthy Foods Every Day. The course should be designed for individuals looking to improve their cooking skills and learn healthy eating habits. Organize the course into 6 modules, providing only one clear main learning objective for each module in form of a short paragraph. For example, module 1, ... key learning objectives, ... Ensure that the modules follow a logical progression from understanding nutrition to practical cooking techniques. Now, let's get to it. Perfect. Here we have the modules. Now, I'll not just accept whatever ChatGPT gives us here. I'll keep conversing. And if I see any module which is not to my liking or any learning objective which is not to my liking, I'll give a new prompt. I'll tell it to improve it until I am at a level where I am satisfied. And here is the final 6 module structure for you. So what the course structure helps us achieve is, number 1, it defines the major theme in the course and blocks them as different modules. Number 2, it creates a logical flow. So module 1 flows into module 2, module 2 flows into module 3, and so on. There's no limit to the number of modules you want. I chose 6 because I felt comfortable with it. You can go to 3, 4, 8, 10, whatever is for your liking. And number 3, it organizes your content and with it your thought process. I hope your thoughts are getting more structured up until now. With that, let's move on to part number 2, which is creating the course outline, which is kind of a detailed breakdown of all the modules that you come up with. What does it entail? So for every module, now you start breaking it down into different lessons. Ideally 2 to 4, but then there is no limit to it. And for each lesson, you define the lesson's learning objective. These are specific outcomes for each lesson that define what students should be able to accomplish. These provide clear targets and help measure learning effectively. Okay, now let's head back to ChatGPT to take things further and start defining our modules. So the next prompt is expand the course outline for healthy cooking for beginners, how to make healthy food every day, by defining the details of each module. For each module, provide the following: key lessons, a breakdown of 3 to 4 lessons covered in the module in a numbered list. And number 2, key takeaways, a 1-line description of the key takeaways from each lesson. Perfect. Now, as I said before, we will not accept the first version of ChatGPT's output. We'll keep conversing, keep improving, keep iterating until we are comfortable that the lessons and the learning objectives are up to our liking. As a sample, here is what I finalized for our module 1. Now, the purpose of the outline, as we talked about earlier, is to break down things into manageable chunks. It gives us small pieces to work on and avoids overwhelm or cognitive overload. Heavy words. Number 2, it helps us in detailed exploration. So we break each module into further subtopics. So we make sure that every corner, every area of that module is covered and we don't leave anything untended. And number 3, it helps us in progression in complexity. Modules are sequenced to build upon each other, ensuring that foundational concepts are mastered before moving to more advanced application and theories. So each lesson helps build up that progression. Moving on to step number 3, designing course experience, engagement and interactivity. Before we move towards creating the actual content within each lesson, it's important that we design an experience for our students so they don't just go through a boring routine of theory being explained in a video. Rather, they find opportunity to engage, to interact, and to actually do hands-on skill. The course experiences typically contains learning materials. These are diverse content formats including text, videos, audios, and downloadable resources that accommodate different learning preferences and style. These material deliver the core educational content in an engaging way and add on to what you have already taught them in the video lecture or the slideshare lecture. Number 2, assessments. You create quizzes, assignments, projects, and other evaluation tools that help students self-assess how much they've learned. And number 3, interactive activities. Discussion boards, live Q&A sessions, peer reviews, and collaborative projects. They create a community feeling and require active participation. Now, not all platforms provide this option, but you can always explore which platform you are putting your course on, and based on its capabilities, you can design interactive activities. Let's head back to our friend ChatGPT and let's see how it can help us design the course experience for our sample course. So the prompt is, for the course, define the course experience. The experience includes complementary learning activities such as reading materials, worksheets, projects, or assessments. Suggest the appropriate experience that should be added to the module. Also, tell the appropriate place it should be added. Do not add too much or it could overwhelm the students. Let's see what it gives us. And as always, after tweaking the output of ChatGPT a bit, here is a sample experience breakdown for our module 1 of our sample course on healthy eating. The course experiences bring a wealth of engagement and interaction in your course and makes your course a lot more human. It helps create engagement. It helps students apply their knowledge, and it also helps track their progress. Our course is shaping up wonderfully so far. Let us do a quick recap of what we have done so far. So we created the course structure. It's the broad framework that sets the expectation. Wonderful. Then we created the course outline, which expands the modules into lessons, and within each lesson it gives the key learning objective. Great. Then we went on and designed the course experiences. They help break the monotony of your course, help engage the students, and help them do a little self-assessment. Absolutely fantastic. So the course structure is ready. The course outline is sketched out, and the course experiences have been placed strategically throughout the course. You have seen it happen live in ChatGPT for a sample course, and now we have the complete skeleton ready, and we are ready to move into the next step, which is getting the content ready. Now this part requires a bit of your own knowledge, a bit of your prompting skills, and a bit of your research skills. Since in the beginning we discussed that the topic you select should be something that you resonate with, so our assumption here is that you are comfortable in churning out the content for each lesson. However, we can definitely take support from our AI tools. Let me give you an example. So let's head over to ChatGPT, and we'll be using the same thread that we used to create our course structure. So the prompt we'll be using here is a bit long, but very simple. So let me start. The first part is create a detailed structured lecture for lesson 1 of module 1, understanding nutrition basics. The key takeaway from the lesson is essential nutrients, reading food labels, and understanding caloric needs and balance. But we'll not stop here. We will keep adding to this prompt. The lecture should be suitable for teaching to students in a conversational tone and should include the following elements: introduction, learning objectives, and then the main content. Break down the lesson into well-organized sections, each covering one key concept. For each section, provide a detailed explanation of the concept. Use real-world examples or analogies to make the concept easy to understand, and include key terms or definitions that students should know. For engagement, include questions or prompts that encourage the student to think critically about the topic. Give summary and recap. Conclude with a recap of the key points discussed in the lesson and how they tie into the bigger picture of the course. And in the end, give a call to action. Now let's see the prompt in action. Now the buck doesn't stop here. Keep conversing with ChatGPT, keep giving additional prompts until you are comfortable with the content. Add on to this content with your own knowledge or research the internet for latest updated information. Make sure your content is up to date, easily understandable, and at the same time enjoyable for the students.